The Cubs are on break, but we don't take any breaks over here on Chicago Cubs Central. And guys, I got the perfect guest host for this episode. Part one of this conversation. All week long, I have guests coming in, but I had to start with my main man, Cody from the Off the Ivy podcast. Y'all, you may know him from all different other places. We got so much to catch up on since the last time he's been on the show. But first, got to hit you with guys with that intro. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Jones, and y'all, listen, I am pumped. I sent the text out. I shined the bat light into the sky and was like, I need my mans to come back on the show. There is so much to talk about while we are on break from baseball, and I just have to pick his brain on what he thinks so far, what he's seen, what he has not seen. Guys, this is a true Chicago Cub legend veteran when it comes to talking about the Cubs, formerly from CHGO. He runs the socials and also podcasts for the 312 Sports Chicago family. And of course, he is the host of the Off the Ivy podcast. Whew, it's a lot of stuff. Guys, give it up for my main man, Cody Delmendo. Cody, what's going on, brother?
Oh, that was a great intro, Mike. I appreciate it. So I have to do the thing. I think I did this last time. Who? I'm sure you get this way too much. I'm sorry, but I just had to. It's an all-time song, man. It's an all-time song.
It wouldn't be right if you didn't. I actually would feel cheated if you didn't. So I'm glad you
did. It's just one of my favorite hip hop songs when I was a kid, man. So no, I'm happy to be back. And the last time I was here, you know, the show was Wrigleyville Forever, and a lot has changed in my life since then. And I'm happy to have take that podcast and rebranded, and now I get paid to do it. Yeah. And yeah, a lot has changed since the last time we talked, and not just with me, but obviously with the team. But somehow we're at the All-Star break, 12 games above 500 and in a playoff spot, and none of it makes sense. A lot of it doesn't make sense, but here we are.
At all. None of this makes sense at all, dude. And I'm so excited to have you on the show to pick your brain, dude, on what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like. Because I mean, what the hell is going on? I remember specifically two conversations I had, and coincidentally, it'll be with both good people that will guest host this week. Obviously, Ty will be on later this week, and then obviously you. And I remember both conversations. We were so pumped for the season to start. And I'm just sitting here like, if you would have told me that the Chicago Cubs would go on 2 10-game win streaks, go on the most insane losing streak, and not only lose Cade Horton, turn around, not get Justin Steele back before the season started. I mean, but before All-Star break, lose Jameson Taillon for a time and period, lose Matthew Boyd because he was playing in the front yard with his kids, or he dispelled that or whatever. But all this happens, and somehow at the All-Star break, we're still 12 games above 500. I would have said there's no absolute way that could have happened. So
you forgot Edward Cabrera and how he not only wasn't very good, but then also got hurt by doing the splits.
Oh, God, dude. And you know what? I was like the biggest fan of him. And our personal conversation, I'm like, dude, I think the Cubs are missing something. Like, why is Edward Cabrera slated to be like the number 4, number 5 starter? And you're like, you might just want to watch. Like, just wait and see. I'm hoping he comes out a little bit better, but we'll just wait and see. And I'm like, bruh. And then, like, he started out fairly decent, and then it just went downhill from there, man.
Yeah. He got good results in April, and then, you know, if you look at the underlying peripherals, it's not really surprising that things kind of fell apart. Right. I am surprised that they fell apart to the way that they did, and then you mix in a blister, and then you mix in doing the splits. It's just, there's the best and fastest way to explain it is that he's been one of the biggest disappointments of the entire season.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. That's just what it is. But that doesn't mean I don't think he can turn it around. It doesn't mean that I think the trade is a lost cause for the Cubs at this point. You still got 2 more years of control of him after this year. And, I can bring up various names of guys who had tough starts to their Cubs career and then turn it around and made up for it. So he's the one thing that he has is the stuff. He's got to get it figured out though. And I personally, I'm not really sure how they will. That's why I'm not paid millions of dollars to coach or be in the front office. That's why I'm paid to sit here and talk with you or anyone else about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think to myself, when I'm watching this guy and I'm like, the stuff looks electric. When it's right, and it's pretty and it's damn near unhittable. But then there is the times where it's like, I mean, it's straight down the middle and it's immediately out the park. And I'm like, dude, like what in the hell? Like, I guess I expected that from Jameson Taillon. I even expected that from Shota Imanaga, but I really thought we were going to get a lot of swing and miss from Edward Cabrera, and I'm telling you, but it's not been there. It's not been.
Yeah, he's despite all that, it's still not my biggest disappointment of the first half of the season. I know that was part of your that topic or that question was part of your list you sent me. If you want to go dive into that, but
biggest disappointment. Start. Go.
Undoubtedly, the biggest disappointment in the first half of the year has been Alex Bregman, man.
Let's hear it.
Absolutely. This guy has a 97 WRC plus on July 13th. And if you're not into advanced analytics, just look at the slash line. This guy's slugging under 400. Mm-hmm. Sure, he's like got a decent on base percentage because he walks a ton and batting average in this modern era, it matters some for certain guys. I think it matters for a guy like Nico Hoerner. It really doesn't matter for a guy like Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman got paid $35 million AAV to come to the Cubs, be a leader, help other guys get better, and then to produce runs. And he largely just hasn't done it. I don't care if he hits – I don't care if he produces runs by hitting the ball over the fence 20 to 30 times. I don't care if he just hit a bunch of doubles and drove in 100 runs that way. Largely, he hasn't done any of that outside of the last week.
Yeah.
Like the last week is probably the only time this entire season where I have felt some form of optimism about Alex Bregman. Otherwise, he's been a disappointment, and you got him for 4 more years. And the underlying peripherals don't look great. He's hitting the ball on the ground a lot. He's hitting a lot. Let me emphasize again, a lot of infield pop-ups.
Yeah.
And he's been a very frustrating watch. And back of the baseball card says that he's going to figure it out. Well, he better, because this is the season that they paid most of that money for. Because I think the back end of that contract probably won't look great. But you paid for like the first 3 years at least.
Exactly.
And he just has not been a massive contributor. It was awesome to see him hit the ball over the fence the last 2 games and be a big part of them winning that series in Cincinnati. I thought he had good at bats in Baltimore as well. But man, especially if you're going to hit him in that top 3 of the order every day, which Craig is doing, like he's just got to produce more. And there is no bigger disappointment for this team right now outside of injuries. If you take all the injuries out, like that's why Edward Cabrera isn't my biggest disappointment. The guy's been hurt.
Yeah.
The guy could have turned it around at some point if he wasn't hurt. Who knows? Right. Bregman has been healthy and bad.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Just either striking out or hitting a bunch of pop flies, like you said. I look at Bregman, and to a lot of people, especially a lot of the mainstream media that covered the Cubs that had them winning the Central Division, Bregman was a huge reason why, because of what he was going to bring to the team. And it wasn't necessarily home run power. It was, hey, this guy's going to get you doubles. This guy's going to drive in runs. He's going to hit the ball. I was listening to The Score probably about a month and a half ago, and they had Dusty Baker on there, which I love Dusty Baker. He is top 2, one of my favorite managers. That's not Joe Madden, obviously, from the championship year. Obviously, him and Sweet Lou Piniella are probably 2 of my favorites of managers. But when I look at this, when I look at Dusty, and Dusty had him in Houston, he said, listen, Alex has had seasons where he started off slow. he is prone to pick it up, though. Like, he will get better. My thought process is, if moving Dansby Swanson back in the order helped him really kind of have that week and a half where he really exploded and got his numbers back to at least respectable, why not do the same thing for Bregman? Why is Craig so bullish on having Bregman hit third or hit second or hit third or second in the lineup?
Oh, I mean, for me, it's like, well, who else are you going to put up there? Like, you can't put Bush. I like that Bush has been in the top 3 or 4 lately. I know his home run total isn't where we want it to be, but he hasn't really been the problem with this team. In May, when this team couldn't hit for jack shit, like, Michael Bush and PCA were the only guys hitting. So, but after Bush, even Seiya hasn't been good enough. He's been streaky, Ian Happ had a great April and decent May, I guess. Mm-hmm. When you look at the numbers, when you look at Ian Happ's May numbers, you're kind of like, oh, really? That happened? But
I mean, we forget, right?
Yeah, like, since June 1st, Ian Happ's been terrible. And he's striking out like 31%. And no one wants Ian Happ hitting in the middle of the order. and I like Ian Happ. Like, I think people hate on Ian Happ way too much. But I know that Ian Happ shouldn't be hitting in the top 3 of the lineup. And if he is, he should be hitting leadoff because he walks so much. But we know who's leading off for this team and who should be leading off for this team, right?
Yeah.
So then after that, it's like Nico has been terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Nico Hoerner.
Since April ended, Nico's been terrible. So Seiya is the only one you can make the argument for, but even he hasn't been consistent enough to give Craig the confidence to put up there. The reason that he continuously puts Bregman up there is because he's still finding ways to get on base. And so theoretically, he's thinking, all right, you get Pete up there who's walking 12% of his at-bats. Bregman right up there. He could also get on base via the walk. And then you bring your big boppers up there like Bush or Seiya and, go from there. It's kind of been disappointing that Moises Ballesteros really fell off after April because he would have been someone who'd still be in the middle of that lineup. I mean, he was awesome in April, and then the league adjusted and figured him out. And so I don't, to your question, I don't think it's necessarily it's not the same. It's apples and oranges when it comes to why Craig has Swanson at the bottom. The reason Craig has Swanson at the bottom is because you just look at the back of Dansby Swanson's baseball card, man. He got paid all that money because he's an elite defender and a league average hitter. And the only reason he was ever higher up in the lineup in previous years was because the lineup or the roster wasn't nearly as good as this season's team. Swanson in his best season with the Braves was hitting 9th whenever they went to the World Series, right? So to me, if Bregman were to ever be moved down in this first half of the year, it was because Nico turned the season around. Seiya was a little bit more consistent, and that's it. Or Ballesteros didn't get sent to Iowa, and he readjusted to the league. They haven't had someone else outside of Pete be nearly consistent enough to warrant doing it. So I understand why Craig has left him up there. I think there was definitely stretches where I would have liked to see him move down just for a little bit, but you would hope to want to move him back up there. So I understand where you're coming from, and I'm not even really saying you're wrong. I also just can't find a name that justifies moving Bregman down for someone else. Yeah. And they like to go lefty righty in the lineup too. So again, he hit well this past week. Hopefully that's a sign of things that come in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're believing and banking on what Dusty Baker had to say, then you're believing that he is going to turn it around in the second half and that he is going to show you why you paid all that money for him and prove it to you. You brought up 2 interesting stories that I forgot about, and not necessarily forgot about, just it's been
the season's long
already.
It's and we've been
It's just tiring already, just dealing with everything that we went through already in this season. I feel like it's been like a whirlwind of emotions up and down. But anyways, the fall off of Nico Hoerner when they and I think there was something about they tried to adjust his swing to get him to hit more homers, and it took away from what he was really good at. And then also the story of Moises Ballesteros and just how the league adjusted to him, and like how he either was hitting line drive bullets straight into somebody's glove, or he was hitting pop flies. Like the pitchers all adjusted and figured out how to get him out. And now he's back in Iowa trying to figure himself out. I do think we see him again this season.
Do too.
It'll probably be sometime in August if I had to guess, either August or early September. But like I said, for him, the question really is can you readjust again and figure out how to now either get on base, or which sounds crazy because I don't want him to get on base. I want slug from him. Like I want him to hit 30 bombs. Like that's what I want. I want him to be on pace to hit 30 home runs, put him in the DH spot every single day, and just know what you're going to get from him. Like I'm in my mind, I've heard so much comparison of Kyle Schwarber that it's almost unfairly I'm putting him in the box of you need to be Schwarber. You need to figure out the league and how to hit. No matter what the league does, you're going to get me somewhere between 35 to 45 home runs at your apex, at your best. Do you believe that's something he could do? Do you think that's something that could happen with him?
Well, I'm a fault of this as well. Like when they first called him up last year, and you just watch him swing a bat and just look at the body type, it's like that's Kyle Schwarber. Like that's the next one, right? And I think he's going to slug, but I don't think he's going to slug like Kyle Schwarber. But I also don't think he's going to strike out like Kyle Schwarber. This guy has elite. This guy's got elite bat to ball skills. The problem is he's hitting a lot of, one of the things that got him sent back to Iowa was he's hitting a lot of ground balls to the right side, just rolling over, right? Yeah. So in this modern era of time, it's like, would you rather him strike out 30% of the time and sell out for slug, or you want him to care more about high on base, high batting average, and put the ball in play, which can lead to more rollover ground balls, I guess. Like, how are you making your outs? And I think like with Ballesteros, that's a thing where a lot of his outs, like you kind of said, he's hitting infield pop-ups. He's done that. I think he's hitting a lot of ground balls to second baseman and right routine ones. And again, I just think the league adjusted to him, and he's just got to adjust back. I'm not giving up on him, but I also think that I don't think that he's really Kyle Schwarber. I think he can be a guy who hits 20 to 30 bombs. I just don't see the same, because Schwarber's like a true three outcome. How's the term? A true three outcome hitter, right? Like Schwarber either hits homers, walks, or strikes out. I don't think Ballesteros is going to be that.
Okay.
I just don't see that. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I don't want to celebrate guys who strike out. I understand Cubs fans like still to this day still complain about not having Schwarber. He leads the league in strikeouts every year, but he hits the ball over the fence 40 times a year,
True.
I just don't see Ballesteros hitting 40 bombs one day, but I love his hit tool. I think he's a guy who can spray the gaps. I think he's a guy who will get on base. And if he can be some form of a catcher for this team, I think it's an added bonus. But I haven't seen enough to really justify that in the future yet. And I don't know. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's thrown in trade talks. But last trade deadline, the Cubs refused to add him in trade talks. So it depends on how much that needle is moved once we get to the deadline. And if he's not part of trades, then the Cubs clearly really like him. And I really like him. I haven't given up on him. It's just I just don't think he's going to be a Schwarber type. He's going to be a guy who, like, I don't want to say a Tony Gwynn, but like I just want to say Tony Gwynn. But I'm not comparing him because Tony Gwynn's a Hall of Famer, Like it's like Tony Gwynn was a guy, he was a high batting average guy who he just got hits. He just hit, Yeah. So man, I think with that's what that is. And Nico, dude, he's probably my second most disappointing player from the first half, which is crazy because he was just electric in March, April.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of fans want to point out the whole, like he got hit in the helmet in San Diego. You go watch that play, like dude wasn't bothered. He laughed, running down to first base. So like, everyone always wants to do that. It annoys me because everyone always wants to point at Chris Bryant getting hit in the helmet in Colorado or whatever it was, and that being the fault of his career. And it's just like, no, that guy had so many nagging injuries over the course of his career. Him getting hit on the tip of the helmet that one time is not why his career came apart. Also, he's a degenerative disc. What is it? The degenerative disc disease. Like his back is just in shambles. So
crumbling.
Yeah. It annoys me. It genuinely annoys me when fans want to just point at, oh, this guy got hit in the head once. Like, this is why he sucks. Yeah, I just no. You go look at Nico Hoerner's baseball savant from last season and this season, and it's exactly the same. There's no change in his baseball savant. His expected numbers say that he should be hitting like 290. So to me, he's been one of the most unlucky hitters.
Yep.
But because he doesn't hit the ball over the fence, there are going to be stretches where, you know, the BABIP gods are not going to be fruitful to him.
Yeah.
But it's been May, June, 2.5 months of just really not good enough. Like, this is the worst slump or stretch, whatever you want to call it, of Nico Hoerner's Cubs career. This is worse than 2024. I mean, this guy's got a OPS below 650, and he's not a slug guy, but he is a guy because when he is hitting, he gets on base. And he's just not getting on base, even with a better walk rate this year. I can't explain it because the Savant page looks the same as last year, and we know how awesome he was last year. But I can say, related to the swing stuff that, you know, Ron Coomer talked about on the score, that everyone wants to blame the Cubs for this. He deserves just as much blame. He got paid a ton of money being who he is.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to change it, brother? Yeah. You want to try and hit homers? Go to Houston with those Crawford boxes. You know,
the short boxes right there. Yep.
You're not going to hit homers at Wrigley. Yeah. Even when the wind's blowing out, you can't hit homers at Wrigley.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to put some blame on the Cubs for trying to change some things so he pulls the ball more. Fine. I get it, because a lot of his outs are balls on the ground. Like, I get that. I do understand it, and I understand the thought process behind it. It's not like it doesn't take brain surgery to figure that out. But at the same time, like, Nico deserves just as much blame as the organization. And no, like, it's funny to me how no fan wants to just put some blame on him for that. So I think it's a combination of both, of the Cubs and him for whatever that is. I don't even know if it's a thing, because you want to pull the ball more? Okay. You want to pull the ball in the air more? Great. That's what we want to do. I would like to see more line drives. That's what I want. But, you know, I think the series in Cincinnati is a great example of some of the bad ball luck. He had a lot of opposite field line drives this weekend into gloves, you know, and it's just
right into it. Out.
I looked at it today. He's got he's worth 1.2 WAR on Fangraphs. After April, he was at 1.5, Mike. Wow. So he's actually, since April ended, he's probably been a negative WAR player. And not even defense is making him above replacement level. That's how bad it is.
That's crazy. That's insane. Dude. I think about, and obviously these two guys play two different positions, but when it comes to defense, but offensively, I looked at Nico and thought to myself, he could potentially be what Corey Patterson was in his best season for the Chicago Cubs. A guy that is going to get on base a ton, a guy that is going to, hit, like I say, doesn't have hit for power, but he's going to get hits. He's going to spray the ball around, and he's going to get on base. And like I said, and he'll drive in runs because of that. And honestly, that's how this season started for him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, holy shit, like, this is amazing. Like, thank God we paid him, this money, because we were going to end up having to pay him a lot more after this season at first is what I first thought. But then, brother, let me tell you, these like them last 2.5 months hit, and I'm like, oh boy, this is really bad. Like this is hard to watch.
It's very confusing to how him and Bregman have been, because, and I got to give credit to my guy Corey Friedman from CHGO Cubs, who I've talked to him in bars. We both were in Europe because both of our girlfriends are friends, and there's a whole story behind it. But when we were in Europe together, for a wedding, whenever the Cubs were just like, it was like late May. And late May, early June. So like we were in Europe when they lost the A's, lost to the Giants. Like we talked a ton about how, like we thought Nico and Bregman would be the reason that this team doesn't have a sustained
slump,
because of their ability to make contact on the baseball and just like put the ball in play when you got runners on base. Yep. And through most of the first half, Bregman's been one of the worst hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position. And Nico is just the best hitter on the team with runners in scoring position last year. And it just ain't it this year.
Oh, you know? Dude. So it's horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. And I feel bad. I don't like saying these things, especially about Nico, because I love Nico. I think Nico is a great representative of the organization. I think he has done all the right things. He said all the right things through his entire major league career with the Cubs. And even though he's not a flashy player, and even though he's not someone the national media talks about, for a long time, I just thought that this guy's just severely underrated.
Yeah.
And this year, I can't even make an argument for him to make the All-Star team this year. The last handful of years, I've been able to make an argument that he should be on the All-Star team. Not this year. That's how bad it's been. It makes me sad because I want to be able to make an argument about Nico Hoerner making an All-Star team, and just not even worth the delusion. Not even.
I have to tell you that while Nico has been disappointing, and yes, you're absolutely right, Alex Bregman has been disappointing, I look at Seiya Suzuki, and then I look across the way at Murakami, and I look at this and I say to myself, you guys had pretty much the same hitting profile over in Japan. He comes over his first season and gets an All-Star nod. Where you at, Seiya? I look at him and I say to myself, and I'm like, and I know the American League is banged up, one, so that's probably has something to do with it, and two, like I said, the Sox are winning, but the Cubs are winning too. And so I look at this and I say to myself, I'm like, where are we going wrong with Seiya, where he just hasn't been able to get those accolades that I thought he would get?
Yeah, I mean, he had last year he had a 30 homer season last year. Finally. This year, I mean, he's halfway. He's got 15 of them.
Yeah.
Could he hit 15 more the last 2.5 months? Like maybe.
Right.
Listen, I mean, he's had big playoff moments. I just think that my biggest problem with him is like whether it's the oblique injuries he had consecutive seasons before the season even started, or the injury he had in the WBC this year that slowed him into the season. And it's just, he hasn't, I guess he just hasn't been able to get on a roll early enough to get an All-Star nod, right? I think last year was his best showing in a first half to even earn one. But because he was a DH and Shohei Ohtani is in the league, like that's why he didn't get it. And then also Schwarber is a DH.
Yep.
You know, he's just kind of a snub there. He didn't play a lot of outfield. I think he probably had a better chance to make the All-Star team this year, considering he was considered an outfielder. But fans are voting in the wrong people. We can't even get the best position player in the league to start.
Right. Andy Paez, like really? Come on, man. Like,
and he's a good player, but
he's not PCA.
Let me save my PCA rant for the end of the show. That's what people need to be here for. I think Seiya, he's been consistent. You just look at his numbers with the Cubs over the years. You know, he's always going to have an OPS over 800. He's always at least hit 20 homers. He could be a frustrating player at times. Like I think he can be a little streaky.
Yeah.
But he showed up for them in the playoffs last year. And I think he was great last year too. I think this year has just been a little bit of a mixed bag. I think he's played better, over the last month than maybe the first 2 months. And again, he was coming off the ankle injury or whatever in the WBC. So every time he comes off an injury, he slumps for like 2 weeks trying to get into a routine, and then he gets hot and then it just like ebbs and flows. Like I don't want to say he's not consistent, but I also want to say he's not consistent, but I also know that he is consistent when you look at the numbers at the end of the year. Yeah. So I expect him to be in the mid-20s home run wise with an OPS over 800 by the end of the year. And like, I think that is good. Is it good enough to be an all-star every year? I mean, considering his position, probably not. I also think like comparing it to Murakami is not really fair. I mean, no one thought the White Sox would be as good as they are this year. And Murakami's like the sole reason for that. Like if he doesn't hit 20 homers in 2 months or whatever it is, like I don't know if they are where they're at. Their pitching has been better than everyone expected. You've had guys like Antonacci and Montgomery and like they've had so many overperformance. Murakami felt Vargas, thank you. Murakami felt disrespected because no one wanted to give him a 5-year deal. And goes takes a pillow contract, if you want to call it that, and goes to the South Side and has just become like a major star over there. And like he deserves a lot of credit. He's a lot like Schwarber, 3 true outcome hitter, a guy who's going to hit homers, strike out a ton, or walk. Yeah. Seiya's not that. Seiya's gonna he'll strike out, but it's not at those levels. And he walks and he's going to get hits. And then at times hit the ball over the fence too. So
who's the better hitter? In your honest opinion, who's a better hitter? I know they're different types of hitters because, like I said, you just said they're different types of hitters.
I still think that Seiya is the better hitter because I haven't seen enough from Murakami over the course of multiple seasons. Because I'm still wondering if the league is going to adjust to him, which he missed some time. Mm-hmm. How's he going to be in the second half?
Yeah,
because there's a reason that teams didn't want to give him the 5-year deal.
There was something there.
The swing and miss was a big problem.
Yeah,
that's why. Like I was into him as a free agent for the Cubs. It didn't make a lot of sense for him in the Cubs. Like whether it's first base or maybe if you wanted to DH him. But I also like Moises Ballesteros, like we talked about. So like I was into him, but I was also like I could live without him.
Right.
So you ask me that question again at the end of the year, maybe I have a better answer for you. But I'm going to take the guy who has been in the league for 4 or 5 years now and has given you consistent production. Great first half for Murakami despite the injury. I think he's a lot more fun, a lot more electric player. Like he's going to grab the highlight reel because he hits mammoth tanks and he has a great personality and all that. I think Seiya's got a great personality too, but he's not like on pace to hit 40 bombs.
Right.
So it kind of depends on like what kind of like what do you view as like a player who is great or good. Like I think Seiya is a above average player. I think Murakami has potential to be a great player. I just haven't seen enough to confidently say that he is going to be that yet. Like I need to see the league and how they adjust to him because I don't think that's happened yet.
Absolutely. So. I'm very curious to see how the league adjusts to him and how him and Montgomery go. And I've been talking to Sox fans. I do a couple different podcasts, and I've been talking to Sox fans, and I've been telling them, like, listen, guys, like, be excited, be happy for your team, but don't like say, oh, it's World Series this season. Like, we can win it all. Like, if we add one more piece, we can win it all this season, go on a streak and win it all. I'm like, listen, couple things here. Baseball is a long season. Teams are like, it's just you're going to regress to that mean. That's why when the Cubs won the 20 games, it's like, okay, that's great. That's a cushion because there's going to come a time of regression. And boy, did it hit. And thank God that we had those 20 wins in the back pocket because otherwise we would be up shit creek without a paddle right now. Yeah. But I'm like, the Sox are kind of due guys to kind of drop a little bit. Like you're gonna hit some hardships during the season. It's just too long of a season for you to consistently play. I mean, even the Dodgers with all the payroll, all the money, all the stars, like they're still not, great. Like I said, well, they're great, but you know what I'm saying? Like they aren't unbeatable.
Yeah, like Kyle Tucker has been a disappointment for them, right? Yeah. Like it's very annoying that they're still just like the best record in baseball, despite the fact that they don't look unstoppable
at all. They look beatable.
Yeah. Like I watched them and I'm like, give me 7 games with that team. Like anything could happen. The Blue Jays were just one runner at third base, running home faster or something away from winning the World Series. It's like, I don't know, man. As we see in baseball and in the playoffs every year, anything can happen in October, and you can spend all the money, this and that you want. It doesn't mean anything once you get in October. You get on the diamond and play, and money doesn't always mean everything. The Mets are a great example of that too. So,
talk about
as far as comparing Seiya and Murakami or anyone from the White Sox and the Cubs, the White Sox, they are. That's their version of the 2015 Cubs. That's what it is. They arrive a little early. Is it sustainable? Maybe the rest of this year, considering their division is awful. But I'm already interested to see what they do in the offseason to make it more sustainable, because it looks like they have a nice young core. And what veterans are you going to add to this team to put it over the top? The Cubs version of that was going to get a Ben Zobrist and a Jason Hayward and John Lackey and stuff like that. Obviously John Lester was like the big piece that before that 2015 season, but I'm already interested in what they do in the offseason if we have a 2027 season over anything they do the rest of the season, because no matter what happens the rest of the season, I can't look at a White Sox fan and say that like with what win or lose, like I can't sit here and say that you had a bad year. They have already this season's already a W for them, whether they win in the postseason or not. It's something that honestly, like for me as someone who likes the Cubs, like I don't hate the Sox. I've enjoyed watching them play. I don't enjoy dealing with their dumb fans, but
oh my gosh,
I think their team is really fun, and it really just reminds me of the 15 Cubs. The only thing they're missing is like Will Venable bringing a giraffe or a tiger into the ballpark and like doing some weird shit, So like I think that Tristan Peters too. Like no one thought he was gonna be this, and like he was an add into the All-Star roster, but like shit, like they've had so many things go right that no matter what, like it's a win for them.
Yeah. So and I tell the fan base, like I said, take your wins, man. You guys were 100-loss team for multiple seasons. Like be excited, like have fun with it. But like Tristan Peters, like you said, was playing for the Savannah Bananas. You know what I'm saying? Like 3 years ago, dude. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, nobody thought this dude would be an all-star, hit for the cycle in this season, all of these things that he's done. So but back to the Cubs. Let's I want to have some fun with you real quick, just to see what your reaction and where your mind is at with this. We do have 2 big outfield position contracts that have to be decided right now. If let's say the season ended today, right now, Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, you can only keep one. Who are you signing to a deal for this team, and what deal are you offering them?
I would lean to Seiya over Happ, and I think every fan would. And it's not just because I hate Ian Happ. I don't hate Ian Happ. I actually really appreciate Ian Happ. But man, like I just think Seiya is the more productive player. And that's a guy that you probably could just toss in left field next year if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
If Ian Happ played a more premium position, I would care more about his defense. When I make arguments for Ian Happ, I never talk about his defense. I talk about how he gets on base a ton. He walks a ton. Yeah, he's streaky, and his downs make me want to pull my hair out, but his highs are fun, and he can carry a team out at times. And I think that he's more clutch than what fans want to give him. This year, no, but historically, yes. Seiya I just think Seiya is the better player, and I think most fans would agree with that. Now, Ian Happ, you would probably get on a cheaper deal. I think he would take like a hometown discount, if you want to call it that. Truthfully, though, I honestly think the Cubs aren't going to bring either one back at this point. I've been going back and forth with it. I went back and forth with it at the beginning or during the offseason. But as time has kind of gone on here, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs don't bring back either one of them.
Really?
And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't bring back either one of them, and they either, get a stopgap for potentially, whoever the next guy is, or, Matt Shaw is a guy that they obviously really love. Now, if Matt Shaw's traded at the deadline, that this opinion could change.
Yeah.
But I think Matt Shaw will be in right field next year. They obviously have Kevin Alcantara, who I don't know.
I because we don't even like him, boo.
Yeah, well, the thing is about Alcantara for me, this is how I go back and forth with it. Like, he doesn't get everyday playing time. So, like, for young players, it's hard for them to get into any kind of routine or anything when you don't know if you're going to play. And then when you do play, it's like you have to do something. And if you don't, then it's not going to get the manager to want to play you more, right? And he just hasn't necessarily like taken advantage of the small opportunities. He's been getting a lot of at bats lately against left-handed pitching. Got the big hit on Sunday. Shout out to, or I think his last name's Arroyo, for not fielding that ball, right? And they gave him a single for it, so whatever. He did hit it hard. Like, I'm really grasping for straws when it comes to Alcantara. The thing about Alcantara, though, is I actually really like him as a prospect. Like, I think he's a toolsy guy. Like, I think he can be a good outfielder, and we know there's power in that bat. He's hitting home runs in Iowa.
Right.
And he's fast. Like, I just really think he's a toolsy dude. So that's what gives me hope about him. But I also think that, like, his floor is really low. Like, if he doesn't pan out, then, like, he's going to be a below replacement level player. Like, he's either going to be awesome or suck terribly. And I just don't know how the Cubs feel. And, it's not like teams are out there, like, asking for him, I don't think.
Right.
I could be wrong. If he's traded the deadline, like, and if he's traded the deadline too, like, maybe that changes and you have a guy like Happ or Seiya stay. But yeah, it's interesting. And, it's unfortunate that Ethan Conrad didn't start playing in the minors this year until like the last week. Hartshorn is 19 in high A. Like, you can't rush him for next year. Like, nope. It is a very interesting situation. But I also just wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs got like a 1 or 2 year stopgap guy, or I think if it was between the two, I think it's more likely they keep Happ because he won't cost nearly as much as Seiya, and he's been in the organization for as long as he has, and he'll take the hometown discount, and he'll still give you a good defense and like all this jazz. And then the Cubs will talk him up like he's some star, even though we all know he's not a star. And I think that's a big part of why a lot of fans get annoyed about Ian Happ, is because the Cubs treat him like he's a star, even though he's not a star.
And he's a good player. And like I said, and he's not a star, definitely not a superstar. And I hate all the commercials on the Marquee Network showing all this Gold Glove catches and stuff like that. I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, like, bro. Like,
he is a good defender. He's the best defensive left fielder in the game.
Hard eye roll, Cody.
I know. But you also have to, like, when you look at how this roster is constructed, like, his defense in some form is important, because if this defense wasn't as good as it is, they for sure would not be 12 games above 500. Their defense and PCA are like the two biggest bullet points to why they're 12 games above 500.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, like, Ian Happ's defense in left field does mean something. Just when I'm talking about him individually, it's not something that I point out because he doesn't play a premium position. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just think that there are other options. And I really do think Matt Shaw will be an everyday corner outfielder next year. I really do think that.
If you feel that way, I could absolutely see the Cubs giving Michael Conforto another mini contract next year.
Yeah, like if Conforto wants to do, I could see Conforto sticking around. Like, if he takes like a 1 year deal, it's not like he's playing to a point to where he can go get a multi-year deal. But but he's also like he's older than Seiya and Hap, so like I don't see that. I think he's definitely really thrived in like a part-time role at this point in his career. I don't have the free agent list in front of me, but I would lean to bet that neither one of them will be with the Cubs next year. Matt Shaw will be in right field. Could be Kevin Alcantara in left. It could be another name that's not even in the organization. Yeah, I would not be surprised if that's the case.
Interesting. Like I said, you definitely dropped the bomb on me there because I was for sure like thinking I know how you feel about Ian Happ, but I also know how you feel about Seiya Suzuki. I was for sure banking on you saying the Cubs are probably going to offer Seiya a deal, keep Seiya, but then you never know. Shohei, LeBron, Otani might come a calling for him.
Well, the Dodgers will just pay whatever they want to get if Seiya if the Dodgers like Seiya and they're I don't know who they have off the books after the season, but like I wouldn't be surprised if he found himself in LA. I wouldn't be surprised.
Me neither at all.
It would hurt, but yeah. Anyway,
it is what it is at this point with the Dodgers. It's stupid. It makes no sense what they're doing with money, and they're trying to get all this done before the cap happens. But let's talk your biggest surprise this season.
My biggest surprise. Yeah, we made it 45 minutes into the show, and I didn't get to bring up the fact that, like, I told you so about Ben Brown. Like, I didn't get to I hadn't bring that up yet. Now, it sucks that he's hurt, and it's with the same, like, neck injury he had, like, 2 years ago.
Yep.
But, like, am I necessarily super surprised that Ben Brown was as good as he was before the injury? No, because everyone who knew ball knew that he just needed to add another pitch. And what did he do in the offseason? He added a sinker, and it's only made that knuckle curve even more impressive. So I just had to bring that up because I just remember you telling me, like, there's just no way that Ben Brown's going to figure it out. And then he did. And he was, like, quite literally the one of, like, 3 bright points in May. And before he got hurt, right? Like he established himself as the ace of the staff.
Oh my gosh, dude!
If there's anything I'm surprised about with Ben Brown is that he established himself as the ace of the staff before he got hurt.
It was clockwork. Every single Ben Brown start, I'm texting Cody or tweeting at him, and I'm like, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Because man, I'm like, bro, what in the world? What is that? That's why I said this season's been stupid. It makes no sense. I did not expect to live in a world where I'm like banking on a Ben Brown start for us to get a win in May. But it literally got to that point where it was like, Jesus, he's the only one that can keep the ball in the field. Like everybody else is like getting hit hard. I'm like, dude, like, please get Ben Brown out.
Right. I guess my actual biggest surprise. I mean, I could go back to Edward Cabrera being as bad as he is. I could go back to Nico being as bad as he is or has been. If I chose a different player, biggest surprise. I mean, I could even go with Michael Conforto. I mean, if I wanted to, but he's a part-time player.
With numbers similar to Kyle Tucker.
Right. Yeah, I would say like the biggest surprise for the Cubs this year, for me, just overall, has been just how hurt they have been. Like the injury bug is no joke. Like you look at this rotation right now, up until like 2 weeks ago, their starting rotation was like no one except for Shodi Imanaga as far as guys on the opening day roster. You had Colin Ray, Javier Assad in there. Even Jordan Wicks made like a start or 2 in there. I can't even like name all the guys. But like Shodi Imanaga is the only one who's managed to stay in the rotation from the beginning of the season to now. And like that's a lot of teams cannot sustain that and survive.
Yeah.
And then the bullpen, there's not one guy in the bullpen from the opening day roster that has managed to stay healthy. Not one. I like right now the bullpen is, and it's impressive if I can name all of them. Right now the bullpen is Trent Thornton, Caleb Thielbar, Jacob Webb. Jacob Webb is the only guy who's stayed healthy from opening day to now.
There you go.
Right. And then like Ryan Rollison.
I hate his face. I don't know why I do. I just do.
I've seen worse faces, but fine. Who else am I missing here? I named 4 guys. God, dude. I want to say Jake Woodford, but he got DFA'd the other day. Oh, Phil Maton, he's back. But like even he's been hurt twice, also sucked. Yeah.
Terrible.
I could put Phil Maton on biggest surprises for being as bad as he's been. His baseball savant page from 2025 was like bloody. It was all red, bro. Mm-hmm. Like when they signed him, I was excited because I was like, oh, this guy throws 89, but he generates so much swing and miss because he can spin the ball.
Yep.
He spins the ball, but he's been throwing meatballs that are spinning
in
the middle of the plate, dude. Like, oh, man,
everybody's loved to see him coming. Like,
everyone loves to see Phil Maton coming, bro. It's unfortunate. It's been a massive surprise to me that he's been as bad as he's been.
Yeah.
But I just in general, I just think the biggest surprise for me has just been how hurt they've been, and then still being able to be 12 games above 500 at the All-Star break. That to me is it's the most mind-blowing, shocking thing.
So you forgot Tyler Ferguson, Gavin Hollowell, and you got all the rest of. Oh no, Big Drew. I hate his hair too. I don't know why. I hate Drew Pomerantz's hair. I don't know why, but I just do. It irritates me. But yeah, no. Outside of that, but you're right. I mean, I had who was I talking to? I can't remember who I was talking to, but somebody said, Mike, if the Chicago Cubs, especially if they win the division, but even if they get that first wild card spot, Craig Counsell has to get some consideration for manager of the year, because there's no way you can manage a club to this type of winning record, hold down that number 1 spot. And we'll see what happens with the Brewers. I mean, their schedule is light, but they also have a bunch of injured pitchers too. So to start the second half. So the Cubs really have a chance here. If they go on a run, they could really do something amazing and like take back first, but at the same time, the thought process was Craig Counsell should get manager of the year, or at least get consideration if he's able to manage past all of this to get the Chicago Cubs either in the first wild card spot or winning the division and hosting the playoff series.
Oh, if they come back to win the division, he should win manager of the year.
Yeah.
And I still think even if they make it out of the first wild card, that he should still be considered, because no team has had to deal with more injuries.
Yeah.
And I think the Braves are such a great example. Like last year they had a ton of injuries and they missed the playoffs. This year they get off to a hot start despite a lot of their pitchers hurt, and they're still hanging in there, but they've been bad enough to allow the Phillies to climb back into the NL East race.
Right.
And I think making a bet on the Phillies to win the division now isn't a bad bet, because the Braves have a lot of pitching problems, but they have a lot of injured arms. Like their best arm is 37-year-old Chris Sale, just still out here shoving it, And I look at the Cubs as the same type of situation where it's just unbelievable. And they've been very, very lucky on the position player side in many ways too. Like I think them missing Shaw in the times that he's been hurt is a big deal. No one wants to talk about it, but I think like when he's in the lineup, and he's really embraced the utility role, and you can put him anywhere in the field. And it sucks that he got hurt the second time, because before he got hurt, he had like a good week and a half where he was starting to really produce, and he got a real run at like getting some everyday time in right field with Seiya dealing with the injury he had and doing some DH time.
Yep.
And then he got hurt, and it's just frustrating. So, I think I talked about it on Off the Ivy today on our Monday episode this week, talking about how Craig Counsell, he deserves a ton of credit for keeping this team afloat. And, people want to talk about how, he just shows up with a binder and does, pulls the switches on whatever situation, this and that. There has to be something said about the clubhouse culture in him and how they didn't fall apart. They could have completely crumbled.
Yeah.
They could have completely crumbled, and they didn't. They fell all the way back to 500. They lost the series to the Rockies and then took off from there for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. Like, maybe that was the worst of the worst that could possibly happen, but I'm not someone who is going to give the manager credit for a ton of things, and I'm not someone who's going to blame the manager for everything that goes wrong. But in this particular case, he doesn't deserve all the credit, but he deserves a lot of credit for keeping this team afloat. PCA is the reason that this team is where it's at. True. Largely. But Craig Counsell and how he's managed the bullpen, bringing guys in the right situations to succeed. I mean, shit. They had like 9 different guys who have a save this year. I mean, them not having Palencia and it not been a problem is incredible, right?
Yeah.
The whoever he's throwing out there to start. And it sounds bad, but he knows how to lose a game. And what I mean by that is, oh, you're down 3-0 in the 6th inning. We're not going to use our high leverage relievers here. We're gonna go with our low leverage ones. And if the offense can make the comeback, great. Like, that's I think some fans don't like it because they want to win every single game, and I get it. But over the course of 162, you just can't use your best arms every single day. And that was one of my biggest like annoyances with David Ross. Was you know how many times we had to see Mark Leiter Jr. every single day, Mike? Like, and I like David Ross as a manager. Like, he was fine. I just didn't think he was great. You can certainly see a difference from Craig Counsell and David Ross.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to get into the conversation about Pat Murphy and him, but like, it's Craig Counsell. You can certainly see a difference in him compared to David Ross these last 2.5 seasons. And if you don't see it, you're just choosing not to see it.
Yeah.
That's it. Period.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's clearly different. It's better around the margins. And he knows how to win games, and he knows how to, play up against who he's going against. Now, obviously, Pat Murphy has some success against him, and we're still waiting for that leaf to turn on its head. But outside of that, and even in this last Brewers series, where like you saw Craig Counsell pumped up after the Cubs win that last game, like you said, knowing what to do in the right time, who to call in to come get the last out to, like I said, to win that game and win that series. I mean, that him and Tommy Hotovy was over there like we just won the pennant. Like, yeah,
because
like,
they had no business winning that series with the pitchers they had to face. They had to face Mizorowski, Woodruff, and Harrison. Meanwhile, we're throwing out like 3 random slapdicks, Mike. You know what I mean? Like, it was insane that they won that series. They had no business winning that series, and the reason they did was because they got timely hitting, and the bullpen just like stepped up in the biggest possible way that you could describe. Like Bryce Wilson, who's not even on the team anymore, giving you 4 1/3 innings. You know, like that series. That's one of my favorite series of the year, not just because they played Milwaukee, but because it was just a team effort to win that series.
We asked for 1 and they gave us 2 in that one. That's winning. That's winning around the margins in areas that you have no business winning those types of games.
And I think it speaks to the character of the team.
Yeah.
I just don't think last year's team would have done that.
I don't think so either.
I liked last year's team. Last year's team was fun. You know, like they were the most fun team that we got to watch in, fuck, man, at least 6-7 years, the 2025 Cubs. But you can, despite everything that's gone wrong, you can see a difference in this year's team in many ways that gives me hope that if you add at the deadline and some guys get healthy and are able to come back and at least contribute in some way, that this team could be dangerous in October. But that's a lot of ifs, a lot of like what's and hows and all of that. But that's why we sit here and watch and talk about it. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And, I got one more question for you before I let you go. But I also would like to point out that the American League is so bad and so winnable that it's literally taken off so many options of what trades the Cubs could go to and get. I mean, you got teams like Seattle talking about, making trades now. And like I said, because I mean, my biggest bet, and I think everybody expected, especially after what Cliff Floyd said on MLB Network, that the Chicago Cubs are going to go try and get, Chapman and go try to get Sonny Gray, which I've never been a fan of Sonny Gray. I didn't like Sonny Gray in St. Louis. I didn't like Sonny Gray. Didn't he pitch for the Diamondbacks too?
No, I don't remember him in Arizona, at least. I remember him in St. Louis, obviously. I remember him in Minnesota. I remember him in New York. I remember him with the Reds.
It was the Reds. Yep. I didn't like Sonny Gray when he pitched for the Reds either. I was like, fuck Sonny Gray, dude. So I don't know.
I think he's good. Yeah. I just don't think he's worth a player that, he is not worth a top 100 prospect in the Cubs system. Like, he's a rental, and he's 36, 37 years old.
Right.
He's still very, very good and would be like a plus in this rotation. But like, I saw a mock trade where the Cubs would send Pedro Ramirez for him, and it's like, well, does Pedro Ramirez have a spot in this team? Probably not. But if I'm going to trade Pedro Ramirez, I want a controllable arm for multiple years.
Give me Joe Ryan.
He was a top 100 prospect. Yeah. Give me Joe Ryan. The thing is, like, you're on the right track. You're like the Red Sox. They're like a half game out of the wild card after like 3 weeks of just insane play. Mm-hmm. And knowing that market and that organization, I don't know if they're going to buy, but I don't think they're going to sell either, especially with how bad that league is.
Right.
And, maybe you could still get a Sonny Gray, maybe. And I think that would be a sign of selling, but I could see them doing it if there's a young arm that they like and they just want to call him up and roll with him, whoever that is. But I mean, every time someone brings up Boston and the Cubs, it's like, oh, Matt Shaw. It's like, I'm not trading Matt Shaw to the Red Sox unless it's for Peyton Tolley or Connolly Early or a young arm.
Right. Young arm. It's nobody old and no rentals.
That's just what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead. I didn't mean to.
No. So my thought is Jackson Wiggins just returned. Maybe our best bet pitching wise isn't necessarily to go make a trade. What if it's already in-house? What if Justin Steele comes back and he's decent and we can put him into the bullpen? Which I also would like to shout out, since you shouted out the whole thing with Ben Brown, which you were absolutely right about. People laughed, scoffed, and stopped watching my show as soon as I said, hey, there's a very good chance Justin Steele will not pitch as a starter this season. He will come out of the bullpen. And people were like, you're wrong. Cut off the show. What are you talking about? Doesn't know ball. Lo and behold, Craig Counsell, Jed Hoyer. Yeah, so about Justin, when he does come back, we are not going to stretch him. Probably going to work out of the bullpen the rest of the season. See about next year. We'll come about starting. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I watch a lot of baseball too. Like, I don't hit every time, but
Well, if after the setback, you had to guess that it is either going to be as a bullpen arm, or if they did stretch him out, there would be reasons about the season that maybe, like, if they had so many more injuries to where like they just needed someone, like maybe it would have had to be a very particular scenario. I think before the setback, for sure, he was going to start. But yeah, I mean, once Jed Hoyer said, it's likely he's not going to start this year, it's like, okay, well, because of the setback, he's coming back in August. I also want to use this to remind people that Justin Steele was awesome as a reliever. Like, he was a reliever in 2021 before the Cubs sold the entire team, basically. And then they put him in the rotation. Thompson. Yeah. Keegan Thompson, Cubs legend. They put Justin Steele in the rotation second half that year, and obviously he didn't really start clicking as a starter until the next year. But he was a guy who came out of the bullpen, was throwing hard too. Like he was throwing it upper 90s out of the bullpen because he was just selling out.
Yeah,
and so I would actually feel confident if he came back and pitched out of the bullpen.
Me too.
And also a left-handed option. He is a bulldog, like the mentality, like, and that he just wants to come back and contribute in any way possible.
Mr. Boyd. Yep.
Yeah. And as far as Wiggins, it's like I still need to see more from him before you can just call him up and just assume that he's going to throw strikes, because his biggest problem in the minors has just been command.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to waste bullets. You know what I mean? So I do think that he would be like a bullpen guy too. Like I could see them adding to this bullpen internally, not necessarily a starting rotation at least though. Like even if Ben Brown could come back and come out of the bullpen, I think that's a much bigger if because his injury is so unique. But if you get those 3 guys in the bullpen in September, if you somehow in September have those 3 guys in your bullpen to go with Palencia, and maybe you're able, you probably still have Thielbar, you'll still have Jacob Webb. Like theoretically, that's like a really good spot. I think it might be a little delusional to think all 3 could be back, but if you get 2 of those 3 in your bullpen by September, do you feel good? I still think they need to add a bullpen arm, but yeah, I mean, it
doesn't have to be as high leverage of a bullpen arm. Like it doesn't have to be a Chapman if you get those 2 back.
Yeah. And I think Brown, especially if you just get him in a high leverage spot, just sell out. He could probably touch 100 if that's the case. So
I believe so.
That's a lot of ifs and buts and this and that, and you just don't know. And Wiggins has all the potential, but he's never thrown a pitch in Major League Baseball. You don't know what he'll do. But yeah, I think I actually feel optimistic about the future of the bullpen if these guys internally can come back and be good. Now, as far as the rotation, you gotta add a starter, at least one. And the problem is that the American League's so bad that I don't know who's going to be selling,
right?
And I also just not sure. Just not sure. As much as I'd like the Cubs to just push all the chips in and go get a guy, I'm not sure if they will do that. And that's a conversation for a month from now. But I haven't seen Jed at the trade deadline, at least, just push all his chips in for like a massive piece. He's made good, savvy trades.
Yeah.
I think the Soroka deal last year just didn't work out because of injury, and he's been awesome this year, of course. But I also I understand the market was super expensive last year too, so it's hard for me to fault him too much on the last trade deadline season. But yeah, it's will this organization push all their chips in? If they are within 3 games of the division by August, maybe they will do that, because I think that's what they're going to have to do if they want to win the division. And you talk about a Casey Mize or a Tarek Skubal or whoever else, a Joe Ryan, whoever it is, whoever's decided to sell all these things, all those names, I'm all for it. It's just you're gonna have to pay up, especially for a guy, especially for Skubal. I actually really like Mize too, but it's just going to be one of those intriguing times. I just feel like we're in deja vu all over again with Jed Hoyer at the deadline with a team that has so much potential to do something great in October. You just need to fix the pitching. Yep. And I'm just so used to them going and getting someone that no one's talking about. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, like Soroka. So
who, by the way, this year looks amazing, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's wow.
Well,
really?
He was hurt last year. That's what I said. He was hurt. He got hurt with Washington, and then they still traded for him. It didn't make sense to me.
Yep.
And I'm not surprised that he's pitching well this year. I'm not one bit surprised. And it is what it is. You want to do hindsight? I could sit here and talk to you guys about how I was all over the Cubs signing Dylan Cease. And now he's going to start the All-Star game tomorrow for the American League because he's been awesome. Yeah. I know the Blue Jays haven't been good, but he's been awesome. He's been durable.
Yeah.
Durable. I'm at the point.
Which was the concern for him.
No, it was not a concern for him. Dude makes 30 starts a year, dude. No, he makes 30 starts a year. His problem is he doesn't go deep enough in the games. That's the criticism, because he throws too many pitches. He's hunting strikeouts instead of just getting outs. And, and that was the big criticism. But it's just this guy just generates a ton of whiffs. He's durable. And you could have righted a wrong in many ways by signing him.
Yeah, that's true.
But even though in the moment of that trade, I still say it was it was fine to do. Would I have included Cease in that deal? Probably not. But if it was the only way to get it, the arm that they did, fine. They won the division. They went to the NLCS that year, whatever. Doing that hindsight game with that trade is not fun. But also, like, the White Sox didn't do anything really with him. He had like 1 or 2 good years with them. Whatever. Right. If anyone won the trade, it's him. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, as far as the trade deadline, it's just like, I don't know what's going to happen, but Jed has to be a little bit more aggressive than last year. He just has to, especially with like Bregman's like peak years theoretically with the Cubs. Like, if he really does turn around the second half, and you're in the primes of all these other guys on this team, and you got so many guys coming off the books next season.
Yep.
Like we just to me, if I'm not saying you put both feet in, but you got to do more than last year. You just have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I 1,000% agree. So I guess to end it all, my last question for you is, what are your expectations for the second half of the season for the Chicago Cubs? What does the 2026 Chicago Cubs season end like?
Optimistic Cody says that this team's going to finish with more than 90 wins.
I like that.
And I think for a while, no one thought that was going to happen. I think right now, with their record and everything, they're on pace for like 88 wins.
Right.
So you need another really good stretch in there, like another good 20-game stretch in there. And then outside of that, you got to just like tread water. Like, they got 2 winnable series out of the second half here with the Twins and then the Tigers. And then you got to go to Pittsburgh. You got to play the Cardinals. I think you play the Yankees coming up at the end of the month, or maybe early August, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it'll
the Dodgers.
It'll go Yankees, and then you play the Dodgers. Yeah, so like you because that's actually my birthday weekend, and I was thinking about going to the Dodgers game, but then I'm also like, I'm gonna be pissed off if it's this next, because I went to the Sox game where the Cubs and Sox was over at Rate Field, and I had to listen to all them stupid ass Sox fans in my face, drunk as hell, for 8 innings. And after the 8th inning, I'm like, bro, I looked at my brother who's a Sox fan. I'm like, John, let's get up, bro. Let's at least go walk around, bro. It's over, but go walk around. Like, at least, like, come on, dog. Like, do not make me sit here and be subject to these fans like talking in my ear the whole time about how great the Sox are and how bad the Cubs suck.
The White Sox haven't won a playoff series since 2005, brother. So that's all you really need to say. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that I kind of lost my train of thought, but
expectations into the season.
Yeah. 90. I still think 90 wins, more than 90 wins, is possible, and I still think the division is winnable. You get to the trade deadline within 3 games, it's possible. I really do think that, especially if they are able to add some pieces. And I still think that series in Milwaukee is something we're really going to look back on at the end of the year on, like, you can't call it a turning point because they were already playing well going to that series, but like it was a statement series, I think, for this team that's saying, like, we're not laying down to you anymore. Like, we've been laying down to you for 7 years. We're not laying down to you anymore. Yep. We haven't forgot what happened in the playoffs last year, all that narrative jazz. And my expectations for the second half is that this division will come down to 1 or 2 games, and that the Cubs are going to win more than 90 games. So
and keep the other teams under your foot too. Like, don't get up so high, like, because it's the Brewers, and like, fuck Brewers, because, like I said, because that's how I feel right now. But, like, remind the Cardinals that you guys are better than them. Remind the Pirates that you guys are better than them. You've beaten Cincinnati more, like I said, than they've beaten you, obviously, because with the sweep at Wrigley, and then taking to this past weekend. But don't let St. Louis get some type of feeling that they're close enough to you. Because that's the chatter that's been going around, is, well, saying St. Louis is playing really good ball, and they're close. They're a lot closer than you guys think, and they're catching up to you and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I promise you, St. Louis playing us means a lot more to them than it does to us right now.
Bruh, I know you're down in the 217. You tell those motherfuckers down there that, like, They have had so much go right for them, yet they're still worse than the Cubs. That's all you have to say. Jordan Walker has finally showed up. Took him 2.5 years to get here after being the number one prospect in baseball. JJ Weatherholt, rookie of the year race, whatever. Great. Like, he was like a top 5 pick in the draft 2 years ago or whatever. Like, of course, like am I surprised he's been this good? Yes. Am I surprised that he's contributing in a big way with them? No. But then, like, they have other good players like Alec Burleson, and I think Lars Nootbaar, even though I just think he's like a creative player from MLB The Show, like 5 years in the road of the show. Like, he's a fine player. He's a good player. Mason Wynn, I think, is not talked about enough. They have good players, but their pitching sucks though. And despite everything, like all the overperformance and all of it, they're still worse than the Cubs. So as long as the Cubs take care of business their way, keep doing things the way they do things, I'm not afraid of the Cardinals. Yeah. And I'm still curious if Chaim Bloom would buy for this team. Like, they're supposed to be rebuilding. You know what I mean? Sure. They don't really have any more pieces to sell. Like maybe Dustin May, if they wanted to.
Which he's had a pretty decent season too.
Yeah, like that again, overperformance, right? Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if they just stand pat.
I think they would.
I don't think they'll sell. I don't think they'll buy. And if they do buy, it'll just be like some mini moves that like don't really move the needle, and they'll just ride out the rest of the season, and they'll try and like take some momentum in the next year. Maybe they're one of those big offseason teams that makes us a couple splashes. I'm more afraid of Miami than I am the Cardinals. The Marlins have great pitching. Yeah, they have great pitching, and their up the middle tandem of Edwards and Lopez is awesome. You just have to give them that. And Kyle Stowers is good. Owen Casey's still striking out like every at bat, but we know that he probably will be something someday, right? Yeah.
He'll click eventually.
Like they're to me just a much more dangerous team. I think the Padres are frauds. I think the Pirates are interesting, but will they buy at this deadline? Because if they don't, then I think they will fade like they always do. No one's taking the Reds seriously. I just, to me, the wild card is the Cubs, Phillies, and Marlins. That's what I think it is. And the only other team on the outside looking in that I could buy into are the Pirates, and that's only because of their pitching. And their offense is decent. It's better. It's improved from the last couple years, right?
Their rookie, what's his name? Second baseman
Connor Griffin. Yeah, he got hurt. He's out for a month. Like, again, I just think they have to buy at the deadline, and if they don't do it in a big way, then it's going to be hard for me to take them seriously at all as any kind of threat to the Cubs. And this is all with me like knowing what the Cubs roster situation is. Like it's I guess I'm just confident that the defense is always going to be there, and that I think the offense has seen its worst days. I don't think the offense is going to do what we saw in May again this year. I could see them having games like they did on Friday when they had to face Hunter Green. Like, I could see a game or two like that. Mm-hmm. But I also think that we will see more games like we did on Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
So I think what we've seen since mid-June to now is really what the 2026 Cubs are. Right. In April, it was just like extreme overperformance. May was extreme underachieving. And since then, I think it's just been in the middle ground. And then on top of all of that, none of those teams have the NL MVP that's not named Shohei Ohtani. So I think PCA's run is for real because he is walking like 11% of his at-bats. His chase rate or swing percentage on pitches outside the zone is down from last year.
Yep.
And he's the best defensive player in the league. So even on I think the Red series is such a great example of what I'm talking about sustainability. Like, he didn't really hit, but he got on base because he walked so much, because he's laying off those pitches that are those breaking pitches outside the zone that people were tossing him last year that he was swinging at all the time. Right.
Right.
Like, he is a complete different player from last year. And last year he was a 30-30 player. This guy's going to be a 30-30 player again. And he could be a 30-30 entering September. Wouldn't be surprised if he's already there by September.
Listen, don't hype me up about PCA. You already know, man. That's the guy. So
everyone who thinks this guy's like overrated or whatever, like they don't know ball. Like it's like the clearest, like I'm a moron. Like put a sticker on my forehead that says I'm a moron with the people who are saying that he's overrated. I've never seen so many people just be so dumb and refuse to admit they were wrong.
Yeah.
I had made a video about this on my Instagram the other day. Actually, it's on my TikTok too. And it was like that. It was a green screen video. And I don't know if you saw the graphic. It was a graphic of PCA's like first 385 games and Barry Bonds' first 385 games. And they're like almost similar. Like almost the same amount of homers and slugging percentage and stolen bases. Like almost everything is similar. Now, I don't think PCA is Barry Bonds because Barry Bonds is like one of the greatest players I ever seen in of all time. But the point of the video I made was that like the national media is comparing PCA to Barry Bonds. Like, just admit you were wrong. He's a great player.
He is.
Just admit you were wrong. And so many people don't want to admit they were wrong. They just want to dig their hole even bigger and just look like complete idiots.
Even with the slow start, PCA has not only picked it up, but as you said earlier, he is the primary reason why this team is 12 games above 500, holding the first wild card spot, and why they are in the position they're in. And it's also why he's an all-star. Should have been an all-star starter, but hey, listen, it's
fans don't know ball.
That fans don't know ball, like I said, and it's a lot of Dodger fans, a lot of Dodger fans that are fair weather fans or fans that have linked in with the Dodgers just because they're winning a lot now. They're supposed to be the best team in baseball. I'm like, bro, I could clearly tell when you try to have a conversation with me if you actually watch the Dodgers or if you just are a Dodger fan because you live in LA or because it's the thing to do right now. I'm like, no, same as Cleveland Cavalier fans when LeBron James was playing for them and I was a Bulls fan. I kept telling y'all like just those type of conversations. I'm like, bro, miss me with that. You don't know. You don't know. So
I wish we could have sat. I could sit here a whole nother hour and just talk about Pico Armstrong. I really could. Like I honestly think he is the best Cub, or he could at the end of his career, I could look back and say he's the best Cub of my life. And I got to witness Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he's going to hit 600 homers, but like when you just talk about a 5-tool player, a guy who affects the game on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, speed, base running, all those things. Like there's not one player from the 2016 Cubs that is close to that except for Chris Bryant. And he didn't even have the speed that PCA had. Now, he was a great base runner. He was an underrated base runner, but like he wasn't going to steal the amount of bags that PCA stealing. And on top of it, like none of them were as good of a defender as he is. And I rant and rave about it because I just feel like we're witnessing something truly, truly, truly special. Like it's like I'm enjoying Caleb Williams during football season because it's like, holy cow, the Bears have a quarterback that doesn't make me want to go jump in the lake in December. Like,
which you would probably die instantly, or at least very shortly after if you did so.
Well, when you watch fucking Matt Barkley at some point in your life play quarterback for the Bears, it makes you want to go jump in the lake because it's like, what's the point of life? PCA is the reason I wake up and enjoy talking about the Chicago Cubs these days.
Yes.
Point blank, period, man.
PCA, when it's all said and done, will be Ryan Sandberg levels of loved by this city, by this team, and I hope appreciated in that same sense. But as Cody is saying, y'all, don't miss appreciating them now. Like, don't wait until it's the end of his season or until he's gone and then be like, dang, we really had one in PCA. Like, watch the games now, enjoy him now. Like, literally every at bat is must see, and in the outfield, every play that comes his way is damn near must see because you got to wonder, is he going to do some type of a magnificent slide to catch the ball? Like, oh man, that ball's way over there. Is he going to be able to run over there and get it enough time? Oh man, this was going back and he's going to hit off the wall. And I mean, just all the plays, like even with the the stupid fans that make the little videos, the video edits of the misplays by PCA and everything like that, man. I'm like, dude, he's still his plays that he's made are they rival quadruple to the amount of plays he's missed. So I mean, it's not even a comparison. Like he may miss 15 if that plays in a season, but think about the hundreds that he makes that he's not supposed to. The diving forward, the diving to the side, the reaching back, the plays where he's scaling the wall, the different things like that. He's robbing guys of home runs, robbing guys of hits. Like, miss me with that, man. PCA is the man, bro. And can't nobody tell me different.
Yeah, no, again, I could sit here for another hour and just celebrate him. I really could, and I think it's very unfortunate that fans don't see how great he is, because as annoying as it is that he didn't, get into the All-Star game because of fans, clearly the coaches and players realize that he is one of, if not the best player in the league, and I think the narrative behind him by fans is just so misinformed. Because of the thing that happened on the South Side with the White Sox fan, or the things he said about Dodger fans, whatever. Like, I thought the stuff about Dodger fans was just like we know that we could see you in the playoffs, and we're just chirping you guys, like whatever, that type of thing. The thing that happened on the South Side, I guarantee you there are way worse things that have been said to fans by players before iPhones were in everyone's hand and you could catch every single moment. I appreciate the way he responded after that, not only on the field, but he took responsibilities, after that, saying, I know that, like, I'm looked at as like a role model to so many kids and stuff. And it was a bad look. I just think that it got so overblown to make it like people tried to cancel him. And I just thought that was a little ridiculous, but you also have to remember too, that he's just 24 years old. And I remember when I was 24, man, like I said some dumb shit. I'm glad I grew up when I did, 'cause I probably would have been canceled a lot earlier. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean I go around and say ridiculous shit all the time, but like, the way, like, me and you, how old are you?
32. 33. I'll be 3.
All right. Yeah, I'm
34 next month.
Okay, I'm 35. So like we grew up with social media and like the advancement in technology, and like I'm sure you remember like the Motorola Razor and like the singular phones, right? Like, and now everyone and their mom is walking around with an iPhone. It has this like perfect camera on it, and like you can just record anything now. And it's, again, it was a bad look, and I don't like that he did what he did, but also like we make mistakes, and it's not like he murdered anyone, So I thought it was good for the rivalry. I'll say that much, because I've never been like a Sox hater. That game or that series was probably like the first time in like 10 plus years where I was like, man, I really want to beat these guys.
Yep.
I always enjoy like most of my life. I just enjoy like, when they play, I kind of am like a spectator to like the people in the city. I've lived in Chicago for 5 years now, and I've gotten to understand the Cubs-Sox rivalry a lot more. And I still, for the most part, have just sat to the side and kind of enjoyed spectating like Cubs and Sox fans that live here, that have lived here their entire life, just kind of like bickering at each other.
Right.
But I think that series on the South Side this year, it was the first time in a really long time where I was like, I really want to beat these guys. So I am looking forward to the next series in August, and we'll see where they match up. And I guarantee you the Cubs will have a lot of revenge on their mind for that one, whether they say it out loud or not, especially Pete, because he's a gamer. He's one of those guys that like, he's not Caleb Williams going on Twitter and retweeting all the people who slander him, but he's one of those guys that like, I think he understands like the narratives that are out there about him, and he knows the other side of town hates him. So like, he's going to want to play better at Wrigley against them. And I look forward to that. So if there's anything about that series that rivalry that I am happy about, is that I finally feel like I have a reason to care about it. And I haven't had that for a really long time.
Because both teams are good. Like, and both teams are good. That's what you get. I've
Right.
painted the picture many times. Like, I actually do hope the White Sox make the playoffs, because could you imagine a 3:05 start time on the north side and then a 7 o'clock start time playoff ball over on the south side? I mean, what could you ask for? I mean, that's great for the city in general.
Yeah,
You know,
get a red line series, like get on the red line right after the Cubs game, and then you try and make it down to the south side for both games if you wanted to.
right? Yeah, get in there. But imagine being PCA, man. He's got a hard life, man. You go up north to Wrigley North and you hate it up there. You go to the south side, you hate it there. Then you go further south all the way down to St. Louis, and they really tell you to take I-55 all the way down, and they tell you you're stuck down there too. But hey, it's all good, man. The north side loves you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I just love how he always manages to do something against these teams.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in that last series against Milwaukee because they had to face such good pitching, but he always seems to make his mark somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of rival fans don't like him. And I also, just from my perspective of it all too, is it's like, you might understand, like, I fucking hated Yadier Molina growing up, dude.
Yes.
Like
yes.
He, to me, and I will you put this on my tombstone. Like, I think he is the most overrated athlete of my entire life. That doesn't mean I don't think he was good. It doesn't mean that I don't think that, he doesn't deserve some form of celebration. I just think he got way too much credit for the last 20 years of Cardinals baseball. Whenever you had Albert Pujols on your team, who basically he rode the coattails of, and he always got more credit than the pitchers that were on their team. They had Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, so many other, Mark Mulder. They had so many great pitchers on that team, but for some reason, he's always the one getting the credit for making their pitchers better or whatever. And I just didn't understand it. And so the day he retired was like one of the happiest days of my life. And
then they signed Wilson Contreras.
Yeah, and they thought that he was going to just step in and be a better defensive catcher for whatever reason. That didn't happen. They didn't even make it a full season with that.
Right.
So the point is that I understand why a lot of fans don't like PCA, because he's clearly the best player on the Cubs. He's clearly the face of the franchise, and he's clearly the reason they win games. And so, like, it's kind of nice in my perspective now, or in your perspective too. Like, we have a guy that people fucking loathe. That, like, every day we go to war for that guy because we just know how many people hate him. And it's nice to have that. And in some ways, it kind of gives me a little extra boost in my fandom or whatever, I guess, because I just, like, even during the golden era with the team that won in 16, like, maybe Javi Baez was the closest thing to that, but I knew Javi Baez wasn't like the best player in the league. I knew he was a really good player and great player in 2018, but PCA has already surpassed him in terms of how good both players are. He's already passed him. PCA, if you're not talking about Shohei Ohtani, he's the best player in the league this year. In 2026, he's the best player in the league. Aaron Judge might be the only other guy that you could say if he's healthy, but and when I say might, it probably is, that's how good Aaron Judge is. But when you talk about just the best players in the league, you have to have Pete Crow Armstrong in that list. If you wanted to do a top 10, he is one of the top 10 best players in baseball. And honestly, if you don't have him in the top 5, I just don't think you know anything about the game.
Right.
Period. And
it's true.
So it's nice to just have that guy that everyone just hates because he's just so fucking good. And I just don't think I've ever had that in my life. The closest thing to that outside of PCA is probably Derrick Rose. And I was too young to remember the Jordan era. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, no, we came in at the tail end and saw 97, 98, but do we actually remember the games outside of watching The Last Dance? No.
Yeah.
I was talking to Sox fans when we were at the game, and I'm like, but why do you hate PCA? And they're just like, because he looks like a fucking douche, man. Like, he's a douchebag. And then I'm sitting there like, but you've never even actually talked to him. Like, how would you know dude's a douche? Like, you just hate him because he's on our side. Because he wears plays for the Cubs. Like, I wish I would respect you more if you just told me, like, listen, he plays for the Cubs. I hate him. Point blank, period. Anybody that puts on that blue jersey, got the red C on there, I hate him. I'm like, okay, cool, I get it. Because for a long time I felt the same way about the Cardinals. I feel the same way about the Brewers now. Anybody that puts on the big stupid little M with the cross or whatever now and stuff like that, the yellow and that ugly ass blue, I hate them. I can't stand them. And I actually think William Contreras is a better baseball player than his brother, but that's a conversation for another day. But like I said, I mean, I just, I feel this way. I hate Mizorowski. He's a great pitcher, but I hate Mizorowski, like I said, because he pitches for the Brewers. I mean, point blank, period.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and that's why I'm saying, like, my reasoning for not liking Yadier Molina has more to do with the fact that he got way too much credit for the Cardinals' success over a 15 to 20 year span. And when I say he's overrated, people just take it as I think he sucks. It's like, no, I understand. Like, if you're able to catch every single day for as long as he did, like, there's some form of greatness that goes with that. But I also just think he just got way too much credit. That's it. And you can either agree with me or disagree with me. A lot of Cardinal fans love to hate me for it, which I actually welcome. I love when they come into my mentions on social media and try and chirp me, because it means that I'm in their heads. But if you can't give me a reason why you don't like PCA or why you think that he's not a good baseball player, like a legit one, then like you're just telling on yourself to the internet or to the world or wherever you're in a bar, you're just telling the entire bar that you don't know ball. Sorry. You hate to be that person. Like, I try to warn you. But people just love to hate, man. They love to hate. And I'm one of them. I like to hate too. I just you want to talk about, Mizorowski? Yeah, listen, I hate having to watch him beat the Cubs, but man, I understand he's one of the best pitchers in the league. Yeah, you can't deny that, right? So that's just one example.
Throwing 105. I mean, I don't think there's anything else you need to say. 105, and he's actually hitting the strike zone this year. So that's the difference between him this year and last year. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cody, thank you, man, so much for joining in again for another episode, man, of Cubs Central. Obviously, I'll have you back again. It's always a pleasure each and every time, brother, that you come on to the show. Thank you so much for giving up a couple hours of your time to talk ball with your boy. And, of course, like I said, giving all the listeners and viewers out there something to listen to and bop to, too, man. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Off the Ivy. It's 5 days a week on wherever you hear podcasts. I know people either love or hate Dan Bernstein, but me and Matt Abitacola are two of the biggest Cubs fans that you'll ever meet. So if you listen to this, check it out. And and also it's not real slander to Dan. I just say that because he knows as well. So check it out. And the YouTube channel, just Off the Ivy 312 if you search. So I appreciate you having me on, Mike. And I'm looking forward to coming back here. Hopefully, preview a playoff series or something.
That is the goal, right? So, guys, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode and never miss when Cody's back with me. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.